Welcome to the Hodgepodge Podcast, the inaugural Hodgepodge Podcast. I'm your host, Doug.
And I'm Dirty A. As the name suggests, we're going to be talking about a hodgepodge of topics, including movies, TV, music, and other pop culture events.
But today, we're going to be discussing the best and worst movies of the summer of 2013. You can reach us at the Hodgepodge Podcast at gmail.com, or at our website, thehodgepodgepodcast.com, or at my review blog, dougreviews.blogspot.com. We'd love to hear your feedback and comments, and continue the conversation with us there.
So let's get this started off there, Doug. Again, we're looking at the best and worst movies of the summer.
Right.
Why don't we kick it off with the worst movies of the summer?
Oh, you want to do worst first?
Oh, yeah. Let's get that out of the way.
Okay.
Get that out of the way. I think people prefer to end on a high note.
Okay.
So let's
Sounds good.
Let's talk about the worst first. Again, folks, bear in mind this is Dirty A and Doug's very first podcast, so
be gentle.
Be a little gentle, though.
Cut us some slack.
Well, we like some rough stuff. So do what you got to do. Anyway, Doug, let's hear what you got for your top three worst movies. Let's start off with number 3.
Well, I will also say before we start this that Dirty and I did discuss our picks beforehand, just so we wouldn't repeat too many, especially in the worst category.
That's true. We don't know what order we have put these movies in.
Right.
But yeah, we do have a general idea of what these movies are going to be. Right. They were, however, independently come up with between the two of us.
Yes. We came up with our list. I came up with my list. You came up with your list, and then we kind of discussed it a little bit, just so we didn't have too many repeats. With the best movies, it's a little bit harder because what's good is good. But there was plenty of bad movies this summer, and so let's jump right into it, I guess.
Go for it.
My number 3 pick for the worst movie of the summer has to be Paranoia. This came out in August, just a couple weeks ago. It came out. It starred Liam Hemsworth, a guy that Hollywood really wants to push down our throats, and he is brother of Thor, Chris Hemsworth, who is the far superior actor of the two of them.
Well, he's a god.
Well, he is a god. That is true. So he would be a pretty good actor, I guess.
Liam would be like a demigod. I don't know.
He's a crappy actor. Yeah. At least in this one he was. Also starred Gary Oldman, Harrison Ford in 2 lifeless performances, basically. Just paycheck performance for those 2 guys.
Still hard for either one of them to do wrong. They're phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah, definitely. But for me, it was just a bad movie. It was a very boring thriller. It's supposed to be a thriller about a guy who works at a tech company, and then he's hired by he's sent to go work for the competition to do some corporate espionage. It was a great premise. It was based on a book originally, and it was just terrible movie. Just very poorly paced, very slow, and there was no tension. Every time they had an opportunity for tension, they just instantly deflated it. It was just really badly made movie.
I couldn't agree more. It was the anti-thriller. It was the thriller that was not a thriller at all.
Right.
Right. It was everything was just sloppily thrown together. Somehow it's like they orchestrated it too much to just be a crap fest. It was a crap fest.
Yeah, it was. It was awful.
I can't argue with that pick at all. That's for sure. That's a legit pick right there for a worst movie.
Now, what is your first pick? What's your number 3 movie?
My number 3 worst movie of the summer, and I'm going to get a lot of hate from this from all the action junkies out there, it's got to be White House Down.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with White House Down, it is the second movie of the White House being taken over by a terrorist this year. There were Deuce movies that had that same plot line. This one, however, just fell way short. There was just not a single moment in this movie where I was just on the edge of my seat or even cared what was going on. Didn't care about a single character. Didn't care, who died. You got Jamie Foxx as the president, and it was just an unbelievable president, by the way. it did not.
Well, he's Barack Obama. I mean, they said in interviews that he was not supposed to be Barack Obama. He is Barack
Agreed.
Obama.
That's why he was put in there.
And it's not because they're both black. It's because his policies and everything basically reflect Obama.
100%. And I hate to say he phoned it in. I actually believe Jamie Foxx. I think we all know by the movies he's been in. No matter where he started from. Ray and all those wonderful movies he's been in. Django Unchained. The man can act. Unfortunately, in this one, it was just a series of cliche lines by him and every other cast member in this movie that just none of it felt right, and it felt like every cliche of an action movie ever thrown together. I mean, we saw this together, Doug.
Right. And a free screening, thank God.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
So I would turn to Doug, pure act throughout the movie, and I'd say, "This is what's going to happen here," and
then it would happen.
There it goes.
It's just Channing Tatum. He's been decent in a few things. He was good in 21 Jump Street. He was good in
Side Effects because he dies.
Yeah, that's right. Spoiler alert. Yeah, spoiler alert. He dies in Side Effects, which is a great movie, by the way. Yeah, but anyway, it was just so over the top. We do have to mention though that this is Roland Emmerich, he of Independence Day fame, and
it was right up his alley. That's
it really was.
This was a strike for Emmerich. He bowled it right down the middle.
Yeah, he's a hack, and he seems to revel in the fact that he's a hack.
Yeah.
If you're gonna pick a White House invasion movie to see from this year, go see or rent because it's out on DVD now. Olympus Has Fallen. Olympus Has Fallen is not a great movie.
I was about to say, by the way, I'm not necessarily saying I endorse Olympus Has Fallen, which was maybe a C- movie,
right?
But it is still the superior White House terrorist movie of the year,
right? And it's that one is actually kind of a comeback a little bit for Gerard Butler, who has been doing a ton of shitty romantic comedies, basically.
Yeah. I mean, he does a fine job with that role, but this one right here is just chock full of bad acting and bad cliches.
Down to the daughter and Save the Daughter.
Just lowest common denominator action movie is what this is.
Yeah.
And I was maybe I wasn't amazed, but when we saw it in the theater, so many claps and cheers, and I'm just
we were just rolling our eyes. We were rolling our eyes, shaking our heads. We're like, what? People applauded at the end of this movie, and this was evidence that America is getting dumber. I mean, it really was. It's just
a bad movie. So you agree with that one? Huh?
Oh yeah, there's. I'm pretty sure that our movies. There's one on my list you probably won't agree with, but there's. I think we're going to agree.
Yeah.
And for the most part.
Yeah. So that was my number 3 pick. I guess let's keep it rolling along here. Go with your number 2 there, Doug.
My number 2, and you have to say this title a certain way, is The Purge.
The Purge.
The Purge. The Purge, which actually was a success this summer. It was a very cheaply made movie, and it's made a ton of money.
It was a surprise.
It was a surprise hit for Ethan Hawke, and but it's a movie that had a fantastic premise. The premise was that it's in the future, and for one night a year, there is no law. It's basically, I think it was like from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I think was.
Yeah, it was a 12-hour window where the government suspended any law, so you could go out on your
emergency services too.
Right, so you could go out on your murderous spree for 12 hours.
Right. So I mean, it was a neat premise, and it was just lousy execution. If they had gotten, I think it was a writer, director, same guy, I think, wrote and directed the whole thing. But it was just, if they had gotten a better screenwriter in there, it would have it could have worked a lot better.
Yeah, it lacked a certain vision from what the plot was given to the audience. The vision just wasn't there.
Right.
It was. I think this was based on a short story or something like that, and I could see it working.
I'm not sure if it was or not. But
okay.
It was, but it's
maybe that was you that said that.
Maybe
it would work. It would work better that way.
Yeah. James DeMonaco. James DeMonaco was the writer and director on this thing.
Okay.
If he had another screenwriter in there, I think he could have made it work. But
I agree with you though. It was.
It was just, I mean, Ethan Hawke, he did a decent job in it, but you had a lot of dumb characters making dumb decisions, and there wasn't a lot of tension in it either. Just like Paranoia, wasn't a lot of tension. It was basically these people just trying to break into their house and kill them.
And somehow, miraculously, this house became a maze. Like,
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
It's I'm not saying it's not a big house. I mean, let's say it's 6,000 or 7,000 square feet.
Right.
But it all of a sudden became this maze, and
the Playboy Mansion.
No one could figure out where they were. Even I'm talking about the owners of the house was just like wandering around, like, oh, where am I in the house?
Yeah, they didn't even know where they were going.
No idea. The entire movie. And then the one thing I couldn't forgive, which some people may say is nitpicky, but as Doug mentioned on the onset of this, it was set in the future. But it wasn't some distant future.
Right.
We're talking about a future like 2 years from now, where all of a sudden the climate of this country has changed so much that this was morally okay to have this suspended.
Right. It's like 10 years. It's like 10 years in the future.
Yeah. It's some ridiculously short period of time that the moral compass of this country is not going to change that fast.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I remember you mentioned that when we went to go see it. It wasn't. They weren't living in like Escape from New York.
No, right. This isn't right. That's a good point to point out. This isn't some post-apocalyptic America.
Right.
It's just normal America with murder happening once a year.
Right. But it could have been great. Could have been a great creepy thriller, and it just kind of fell apart.
I can only attribute the fact that it made as much money as it did is to the Hollywood push this summer for some of this creeping movies. I think the marketing for that, some summers they just push for certain things.
Right.
I think this summer they push for some other things. Like you want to go see a creepy movie, check out The Conjuring.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It's not one of the best, but it's certainly better than this one.
Okay. So let's keep this rolling. What's your number 2 pick for the worst movie of the summer of 2013?
My number 2 worst movie of the summer is going to be Hangover 3.
Oh!
Yeah. I like most of the country, I love the original Hangover. One of the funnest movies I had seen that summer. Hangover 2, more of the same. Had some laughs.
But it was in a different location.
Hey, look, it's Thailand. All right. This one decided to throw all that out the window. Hey, we're going to go with the completely new plot here.
Right.
And apparently that plot did not include humor.
No, yeah. This was not a funny movie at all.
There was not we went and saw this one together.
Yeah.
I think one laugh between the two of us in the actual movie.
Right.
And then, the cut
but
scene.
the post-credits, when I reviewed this movie for my blog, I got to the end of the movie and I was going to give it an F. It was going to get an F. And the post-credit scene bumped up to a D- because there was actually a lot of comedy in the post-credit scene. But beyond that, this movie was not funny. It focused too much on the Chang character. And to be honest, there's a lot of movies out there. Sequels to comedies don't work a lot of times in general, I feel.
That's true.
They really don't. And I'm hoping Anchorman 2 is going to be a lot better. I hope that breaks the trend.
You can't see, but my fingers are crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But this Hangover movie, I almost felt bad for the Zach Galifianakis character, because my question is this guy like mentally handicapped or something like that? And like they're making fun of him basically.
Well, they set that up from the first one. You never really know if he's just an unstable kind of guy or if he's actually got an IQ, of a melon. We don't really know.
Yeah,
but in this one, they just completely take everything off the board that worked in the first one and arguably parts of the second one, and they threw it all away, clean slate. And nothing was funny. Nothing was funny about this movie, and it was sad because I was excited to see it, especially knowing that they were trying to do something different.
Right.
And it just didn't work. The actors in it, they didn't play any. Their characters were the same. They didn't, but the situation and the dialogue they were given.
It's Galifianakis' movie. It's not. It has really. Bradley Cooper didn't even have to be there. I don't even think Ed Helms really had to be there either. And that's what was great about the first one. I personally thought the first one was a little overrated. I liked it. It was funny. I was actually disappointed when they showed the pictures at the end of that movie because I thought it was going to be even crazier.
You're right. That gave you a visualization.
Right. So it's actually kind of a disappointment
of some imagery of what could have been imaginary.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was. But the first one was decent. It was funny, and the thing that worked was the chemistry between the three of them. And then in this one, you basically take two of the pieces out. And it's just a Zach Galifianakis and Ken Jeong movie, and it wasn't that great.
Yeah, I mean, it Hangover, a lot of it is lowest common denominator humor, but the first one they made it work. Apparently, and one of the newer rules of comedy is if you show a penis, people are going to laugh.
Right.
And Hangover doesn't do it smart.
No, yeah.
It's just doing it,
Right.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall, hilarious penis scene.
Yes,
that worked. It was organic. One of my favorite comedies ever. It worked.
Not necessarily because of the penis scene.
Right. I will go with it. Sure, Doug. That's right. Dirty A does not necessarily endorse penis scenes. But anyway, so that's my number 2.
Okay.
Hangover 3.
All right.
Now let's go with the number 1 picks of worst movie of 2013 summer. Doug, what you got?
I am going to incur a lot of wrath when I say this one.
Uh-oh.
It is not necessarily the movie that I graded the worst of the summer.
Oh.
It's in the ballpark. I mean, it's D+. We're talking D+, D-. It's in the ballpark.
You're splitting hairs at this point.
Exactly. But I thought about it, and the more I thought about it before we did the podcast and everything. And I have to say that my worst movie of summer of 2013, Star Trek Into Darkness.
Wow. That is a bold statement there, Doug.
This movie, it looks great.
It does.
It feels great when you're first in it. The script is beyond awful. It is lazy. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense as far as they call the movie Star Trek, the series Star Trek, because you're in a ship and you're trekking through the stars.
I'd never put that together until now. I'm going to something new right here on the podcast.
Now, apparently, in these last 2 movies that J.J. Abrams has done, they have a teleporter where you can teleport wherever the hell you want. So why do you need the starship?
So why even have the ship?
You don't even need them. You can just teleport wherever you want. Apparently, and spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, I mean, it's only been out since May. If you haven't, and I think it's actually on iTunes right now. I think you buy it on iTunes before it comes out on Blu-ray, like in a couple weeks or something. Spoiler alert, Benedict Cumberbatch, he is Khan. He is Khan from the old TV show, and, well, actually, he's not from the old TV show, but he is the character of Khan. When they said up and down that he was not going to be Khan, and basically this movie rips off, directly lifts and plagiarizes scenes from The Wrath of Khan, which is a far superior Star Trek movie. If you want to watch The Wrath of Khan, just go rent it.
We all know the line. Say it with us.
Khan! Right, except in this one, Spock says it instead of Kirk, and it makes no sense. There's no reason for it.
But there was a reason for it.
Technically,
because the audience expected it.
Right, exactly, and that's what's wrong with these Star Trek movies. The one from 2009 and now this one, they throw stuff in there that are call-outs to the fans, and it doesn't. They don't want to do anything original with these characters. Like when they rebooted this whole series, that was the opportunity to tell stories with Spock and Kirk and McCoy, and tell new stories. But all they're really doing is just rehashing and mining the past. I mean, the worst part of this film, the absolute worst part of this film, is when they actually, if you've seen the old, the 2009 Star Trek that J.J. Abrams did, you know that Leonard Nimoy is in it as the original Spock, the old Spock, however you want to call him. In Star Trek Into Darkness, they actually call him on the phone and ask him what to do next.
Yeah, and he's not, Doug is not, giving anything to that scene. They literally say, hey, what do we do now?
I mean,
because you've been here, tell us what to do now.
Exactly. I mean, and that is tantamount to someone, a character pulling out the script and going, oh, it says we do this next. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was pretty absurd. I enjoyed this film as as its own film. A lot of the reasons why Doug is saying that he hated it, I can't argue with, because I'm looking at this film. I didn't watch Star Trek growing up. So I'm not the fan. I don't have that core Star Trek fan base in me. I don't know these storylines that you say were plagiarized.
Right.
So to me, a lot of it was new and a fresh idea. So I can't argue with that. I enjoyed the action scenes. The production value was, it was a blockbuster, so the production value was nice.
Oh no, the production value was great. I mean, it looks great, and but even in the beginning, and what you're right.
Benedict, I thought played a great villain.
I thought he was good.
I thought he was actually kind of underutilized in some places.
He did good. The cast they all do very well, but it's just that it's the screenplay. The screenplay was written by Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman, and then. Also, you have the infamous Damon Lindelof came in and helped out. And so these guys, I don't know how Orsi and Kurtzman still get work, honestly, in Hollywood. I mean, they wrote the Transformers movies, which, were god-awful. They made a lot of money. Doesn't mean they're good.
What is brilliant Transformer? Did you not see how much money they made?
Means nothing. And the actors do a good job.
People have spoken.
Apparently, yeah. But the actors... they do okay, but it's just I don't know. It's just dumb. I mean, they have apparently Khan has this super blood that they used human blood on a tribble and brought it back to life, which makes no sense scientifically at all.
That's another callback. Trouble with Tribbles.
Right.
That's a famous episode from the original Star Trek.
Exactly. And now they have this super blood in the universe. Are they going to use that in the future? Because basically this had a technical error there, but basically this super blood brings Kirk back to life, and is that going to have any ramifications in the future of these movies that they can bring people back to life with Khan's super blood? Probably not. They're probably, he's back to life, whatever. It's totally about the script with me. I mean, it's just a terrible script.
The way you talk about it now, I see a lot of your points.
Yeah.
I honestly think, and I'm not claiming it was a great movie by any means.
Right.
It is spoiler alert. This doesn't make my best of movies by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm able to forgive a lot of this because I don't have that core fandom at heart, and I can completely understand because I'm that way with a lot of things. I cannot forgive things like Transformers,
right?
Whereas I watched that growing up, and then in comes
Michael
Bay and
these guys and
good old Jerry
to
turn Bumblebee into a Camaro.
Right.
Bumblebee's not a Camaro. Bumblebee is a bug. Plain and simple. But anyway.
But I'm not. I wasn't a huge Star Trek fan growing up. I like The Next Generation. And I like the classic movies with Shatner and Nimoy. But so I'm not like a huge Trekkie or anything like that, or Trekker, or whatever they call them these days. But it was just poor writing, and I got to be honest. I mean, J.J. Abrams. He's the captain of the ship. He let this happen. And I got to be honest, I'm a little worried about Episode 7.
That will definitely be a focus of a podcast a couple years from now.
Yes. As long as we're still doing this, which I predict we will be.
Yes. Abrams is certainly hit or miss with his movie focus.
Yeah.
But yeah, Episode 7 will definitely be a future podcast unto itself, of which I highly anticipate, regardless of the direction I feel that may be going.
Right.
So, anyway, that's your number.
That's my number one.
They
final word on Star Trek. What they should have done is they should have just completely hard rebooted it, like Batman Begins, which is the template now, this gold standard for reboots.
Sure.
And they should have just gone with that. Instead, now it's this kind of mishmash, and I don't know what they're going to do for the third one.
All right. Well, there it is. Doug's worst movie of the summer, Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yes, sir.
The Void of Darkness.
Yes.
As it were.
Yes. And now, Dirty A, what is your pick?
Wow. All right. Well, here it is. My worst pick for the summer of 2013 is a movie that most people probably haven't even heard about, much less seen this summer.
That's true. That's a fact.
Unfortunately, at that same token, it was also a movie that I could not wait to see. It was my most anticipated movie of the year. Without further ado, we're looking at the movie called Only God Forgives.
Whoo, boy.
And only God could forgive this movie for being made. This is the follow-up for director Nicholas Refn for his fantastic movie Drive.
Yeah,
one
Drive
of my favorite movies ever. Mm-hmm. Easily in my top 10 ever, Drive. But Only God Forgives was just a horrific piece of shit.
It was. It really was.
Well, I mean, where do I even begin, Doug? Where do I even begin? I think you were also very much anticipating this movie.
I was. I thought Drive was Refn as director. Ryan Gosling's in it.
Yeah, who also, by the way, stars in Only God Forgives.
Yes,
that's Ryan Gosling and Kristen Scott Thomas. The movie. Let's start pacing.
Oh.
Let's start with the pacing. And when I say pacing, I literally mean pacing. Because in this movie, the characters move slower than time.
They do.
I mean, everything. It's like you think you're watching some kind of carefully orchestrated slow march to something like slaves marching to their impending doom, or up the mountain.
Right.
I can't explain it. There's no reason for it.
Yeah, I honestly felt when I was watching it that I felt that the screenplay, he didn't have enough story there, and he had to make these people walk and move so slowly just to drag out the running time.
Just to get it
running time. Or else the movie would have been like an hour or maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Like, I mean, we looked at each other a few times through this. There were a few of us watching this together.
Yeah.
And just, what's going on here? Is this a joke? Is like candid camera? Are we getting pumped?
Yeah.
Because Ashton Kutcher in here somewhere? We didn't know. It was all a style thing. It was all about the style, the pacing, the movements of the character, the colors, and to its credit, it did look.
Yeah,
it was a fantastically shot movie.
Beautifully shot movie. Beautifully shot.
But that in no way forgives every single other element of this movie.
Well, only God forgives.
Right. No human can forgive this movie.
No.
And again, this is a subjective review in that I could not wait for this. I was almost sure I was going to love this movie.
Yeah.
From the trailer. By the way, the trailer, which completely is better than the movie itself.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You watch the 3-minute trailer and you'll be sold on this movie.
Yeah.
And then you go into the roughly hour and a half of this movie and it doesn't know...
It was boring. It was just boring.
Boring. It was a boring thriller.
You really didn't... I don't know. I mean, I kind of understood the Gosling character, his motivation, I guess, a little bit, but it was the movie just had no point to it, really. It was just...
And I'm not a hater of Gosling.
No, me neither. I like him a lot.
He's Drive again. And he played his quintessential stereotypical Gosling quiet man.
Hey girl.
Hey girl. He was the quiet man. He was the my actions speak for me guy in this movie.
I would say he's almost the same as Drive. Almost the same guy.
Yeah, I would argue that. The same character, only not sucky.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And Kristen Scott Thomas, she had the flashiest role.
Now, yeah,
But basically the story is that her oldest son was murdered after he raped and murdered a prostitute, basically. So he kind of had it coming. And then she wants Ryan Gosling to go
her baby boy.
Yeah, her baby boy to go and mete out justice. I think he was like a retired cop or something like that, or he was a detective or something.
The idea was, I don't even think they actually specifically told you.
Yeah.
The idea was that he had to move over to Japan to escape some history he had
Thailand.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah. See, I don't even care. I don't care what the movie said. But he had to escape to Thailand because of some bad history he had in the States.
That's right.
So that's why he's living in Thailand.
Right.
Sorry, we didn't give you the upfront on this, but it really doesn't matter because you don't want to see the movie.
Yeah, you don't want to see it anyway.
But Kristen Scott Thomas, she plays a brilliant bitch. I mean, just the worst mother in history.
Yeah, but see, I felt I couldn't even feel for her as like a mother who lost her kid because she's so vulgar, she's so repugnant. You're just like,
She didn't care about the loss of her kid. She cared about what that said about her and her power.
Right.
She just cared about the revenge for that, which is fine. A story was here. Yeah. Again, just like with some of these other movies, there was a great story here. It was the execution that was terrible. This could have been a great revenge story. Yeah. As a lot of revenge plots go, but it wasn't. It wasn't there.
Right.
To be honest with you, Doug, I don't want to waste any more breath on this one. It was horrific. Do not go see Only God Forgives, even if it's free.
Yeah. I mean, biggest disappointment of the summer. Hands down for me. Biggest disappointment of the summer. The only reason why I went with Star Trek over that is because I knew you were going to pick. I know you wanted to talk about it, but also because, Star Trek just did everything wrong.
Hey,
I felt.
Why even give it a mention? To be honest with you.
Exactly. There you go.
So let's change tunes here. Let's go on a little lighter side and let's look at our best picks.
Dirty A, what is your number 3 pick for the best movie of summer 2013?
All right. So happy to be in the best of here. My third best pick for this summer is what I would consider a very surprise pick for me, in that I certainly hoped it would be funny, but I never thought it was going to be as funny as it was. This is the End.
Yeah, great movie.
This is the End.
Great movie.
If you haven't heard about this movie, it is basically, in all honesty, it's all about the real life friends. Like they basically were like, hey, we're going to make a hilarious movie. Let's and the premise of this movie is that these 5 or 6 folk here that are starring in this film, they're playing themselves. You have
skewed versions of
very skewed Hollywood archetypes of themselves. Right. So you have James Franco playing the stereotypical James Franco playboy, intellectual guy, environmentalist James Franco. Taken to the nth degree, James Franco. You have Danny McBride playing the asshole redneck who is Danny McBride.
The villain.
Yeah. But each of these characters, they're playing some version of themselves and how the world as a whole depicts them. But the idea of this movie is that, Armageddon is upon us. They're all at a house party. It's being thrown by James Franco at his mansion, and the end times comes, and they're all together figuring out what's going on and what they're going to do. And pitch perfect execution.
Yeah,
everything about this movie was funny. I love the characters. I love the play between the characters. I love the setting. I can't say enough about this movie if you haven't seen it. I will say, without spoiling it, because this is one movie I don't want to spoil for people, for me, the best part about this movie was the Michael Cera stereotype, which I will not get into it other than to say he's not a star of the movie. He's only at a very subset
more of a glorified cameo.
Glorified cameo is a perfect way to put it. But it is the funniest thing that I had seen. I like this movie. This was actually my number 2 movie. Okay,
of the summer. Best of. So we'll just get out of the way right now. It was written and directed by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. They actually directed this one. They also wrote Superbad.
Yeah, as I said, they collaborated before and brought us some great film.
They also wrote Green Hornet. So this movie could have gone either way. The trailers really, and it seems like Hollywood's been doing this a lot lately, especially with comedies. When we talk about my number 3 movie, the trailers were very subtle. They didn't give too much away. And you watched the trailers and said, this could go either way. This could be really funny, or it could be a horrible, ego-stroking piece of crap.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what I was saying on the onset.
Right.
I was pretty sure I was going to enjoy this movie. Mm-hmm. I had no idea what I was in for.
Yeah, and luckily, it is gut-bustingly funny. It is hilarious. And
from beginning to end, you will laugh at this movie.
Until the world actually starts ending, Michael Cera is the star of the movie. He is hilarious, but... For me, my MVP, I guess, for the whole movie, I would have to say is Jonah Hill. I thought Jonah Hill was hilarious.
Yeah.
Again, don't want to give anything away, but there's a scene that focuses exclusively on Jonah Hill, and it is hilarious.
I wouldn't say exclusively. There is another something in the...
Well, it has a subtitle that includes his name. So, but also, the other thing I really liked about This Is the End is that while it is hilarious and everything, and it's funny to see these guys riffing on, I guess you would say, public perception of themselves, there's a lot of legitimate scares in this movie. There are some creatures in there that, yes, did remind me of the dogs from Ghostbusters, but they do pop up, and I jumped in my chair quite a few times.
I was about to say, I had a friend who almost jumped in my lap.
Yeah, he did.
And I don't have that scary trigger at most things. So,
right.
The fright piece for me, I'm not saying it wasn't there. It's really hard to scare the old dirty A.
Right.
But no, you're absolutely right. It was well put together on every front.
Right.
And it wasn't what I was afraid of with this movie, even though I thought I was going to like it. What I was afraid of was lowest common denominator humor.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, even the humor that some may call lowest common denominator, if you look deeper, it's there's something else there,
right?
And it's just balls to the wall funny.
Well, the humor, the humor runs the gamut. I mean, there's gross out humor, there's slapstick, there's witty dialogue. I mean, it really covers the whole spectrum.
That's true.
Of comedy.
It's not one genre of comedy.
Yeah,
That's true.
Not. Yeah. These guys, they really hit this one out of the park.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hilarious and definitely one of the best of summer.
I'm pretty sure that when the idea for this movie came up, and or at some point of that execution, Seth Rogen was high.
Probably.
Yeah. I think that's a safe assumption.
That is a safe assumption. That is a safe assumption.
But that being said, enjoy the trip, my friends.
Yes. Definitely check that out. I'm sure it's probably due on Blu-ray soon because that was an early movie this summer.
Yeah, I don't have a release date for that, but I would assume that was right.
If you can go see it in like a $2 theater or something like that, definitely check it out. Do it. Go see it now. It's hilarious. Now my number 3 pick, which actually, to be honest, was neck and neck with This Is the End.
Okay.
My 3 movies that are the best, I felt were the best of summer, were all very neck and neck. It's just the number 1 just went that extra
Of course, that's typically the way it'll go.
But my number 3 movie was another film that the trailers really did not sell very well, but ended up being amazingly funny, and that is The Heat.
Now.
Right, not the cold, the heat. But now, full disclosure here, I do know the screenwriter for the movie, Katie Dippold, and she did a great job on it. That in no way affected my picking The Heat.
Sure,
it did.
Shout out to Katie. All right.
Shout out to Katie. It was, but she did a great job, and the movie, like I said, the trailers really sold the movie short. I felt. The trailers just, I saw them, and there were a couple chuckle moments here and there, but I got to be honest, I was kind of worried. And I was like, I hope this movie's going to be good.
The trailers kind of really tried to sell that slapsticky physical comedy thing.
Yeah.
Really tried to build that up a little bit, and the movie wasn't all about that.
Right. And now the other reason why the trailers may have sold it short is because everything that comes out of Melissa McCarthy's mouth in this movie is hilariously filthy. I mean, she is ridiculously funny.
In other words, only Red Band trailer work.
Yeah, exactly. She, I was a little worried about her. I loved her in Bridesmaids. I thought she did a great job, but I was a little worried after Identity Thief that came out this winter. I guess in January it came out. That movie was not good. I did not like Identity Thief.
I unfortunately
don't.
Okay.
So
all right.
And so I was kind of worried that she was kind of squandering her good will that she generated on Bridesmaids, but she hit it out of the park on this one. Sandra Bullock was funny as the straight woman. And basically, it's, the movie does follow a lot of general buddy cop tropes throughout.
Well, sure, and that's the idea. I mean, that's what they're playing off of.
Right, but it was great to see, female actresses, because there's only one kind of actresses, females. Yeah. But it was great to see actresses playing these roles.
They don't go by actresses anymore, Doug. They're all actors.
Forgive me. So it was great to see them in these roles, as opposed to just standard, dudes.
I agree with you there. I wasn't as blown away with this movie as you were. I absolutely, do not get me wrong, I thought it was funny. Mm-hmm. I did not have quite as many laugh out loud moments as you did, so this didn't make my best of the summer. But it was absolutely a solid movie, hands down. I cannot dispute that on a list. It just it didn't quite catch me the same way as it caught you and probably a lot of other people who saw this movie. But this is a well deserved nod to a pretty brilliant comedy.
It was great. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing. I think they're planning a sequel already.
Yeah, and they're also it's a lot of small little cameos in this movie, not necessarily cameos by big actors or anything, but that just really hit the nail on the head and have some very, very funny moments.
Yeah. Dan Bacchanal was hilarious. He was great.
There you go. That was one of the two I was thinking of there. But see the movie.
Yeah, definitely go see The Heat. I think it's still playing in theaters right now. But there you go. There's
all right.
The Heat.
I like it.
So we've already covered my 2 and 3. So what's your number 2 pick?
My number 2 movie for the summer is actually, again, a movie some people probably didn't even hear of. It was in and out pretty quick, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's a movie called The Way, Way Back.
Great movie.
Amazing movie. There are certain things that can be picked apart in this movie if you're dissecting it, but this is a brilliant play on comedy mixed with drama.
Right. It's a coming of age movie.
It is. You're right. So yeah, let's delve into that. What this movie is. It's about a boy who is going on vacation with his mother and soon-to-be stepdad.
Yeah, pretty much. Her boyfriend,
Her boyfriend.
And his daughter.
Correct.
His teenage daughter.
And he butts heads a lot with the boyfriend.
Yeah.
The boy is not happy about the boy. He's not happy about the divorce as a whole and how his say in it was menial. And he's right at the edge of puberty. There's a lot going on in his life, and so as Doug said, it's a coming of age story. And as with any adolescent life, there's comedy mixed in with all the drama going on, and this movie nails it.
Yeah,
nails it not only by a great cast. You have Toni Collette in there as playing the mother, who's great. Doug, help me out. Who is the neighbor lady?
That's Allison Janney.
Allison Janney,
who was hilarious.
I mean, from the moment she's on screen, she steals the show away with her lines.
She's a real boozy broad in this one.
yes, very much so. But for this movie, even though this is one of the gripes, one bigger gripes of the movie,
right.
Still, one of the main reasons why this hits my number 2 and is on here is because of one brilliant man, Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell is a great actor. I've loved pretty much most of the stuff he's done.
He's amazing.
And he's great in this movie, too.
He is an amazing actor, and he shows it here. He plays a kind of washed-up, late 20s, maybe.
I'd say he's probably in his early 30s.
Early 30s, late 20s kind of guy who works at and manages a water park at this vacation town that they're visiting, and he kind of takes the young boy under his wing, and gives him some responsibility and purpose for the summer, and shows him a life outside of the drama that he's going through. Now, the reason why I say this is one of my bigger gripes, and Doug and I have talked about this before, is because Sam Rockwell's character in the real life, I think it's safe to say, doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah. He was very much a movie creation.
A movie character. This movie, keep in mind, everything we've said so far about this movie is grounded in reality.
Right.
In that, you have these real life drama situations.
Right.
With bits of comedy mixed in, not overdrawn comedy, just
right. It's not an absurd comedy like Anchorman or something like that.
No, just humorous moments that will occur in one's life. But his character, Sam Rockwell's character, he goes above and beyond to help this kid out in ways that just it's never going to happen.
It was a little unrealistic.
Come on into our adult party where we're drinking and just hang out with us. And I'm still going to be responsible about you, not let you do anything you shouldn't do, but come on in and have fun.
Right.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, the kid's like 14 or something like that.
About 13 or 14. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. But I was so in love with this movie that I completely forgive that because A, it's Sam Rockwell.
Right.
And B, the overall tone of the movie just... Oh, and someone we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Go ahead.
Steve Carell. Steve Carell plays the boyfriend, and it is probably the greatest passive-aggressive performance you'll see.
Dennis Leary's asshole comes to mind.
Yeah,
when I think of this character.
The kid's name in the movie is Duncan. He's played by Liam James. And Steve Carell's character just puts him down at every opportunity he can. And he does a great job. He plays very much against type, but he's great in it. And the movie was written by Jim Rash, who plays the dean on Community, and his writing partner Nat Faxon,
who also has a cameo in that. Dean.
Oh yeah, And they both work at the water park in the movie.
Great cameos there.
Yeah, Maya Rudolph is in it too. She's great. Yeah. She has the responsible manager.
The ensemble cast here is phenomenal.
It's a great cast. Everything. I agree with you about this. Was one of the best movies of the summer for me. It didn't make my list, but it was definitely one of the best. But I agree with you that movie. See, for me right now, the gold standard for coming-of-age movies of these teenagers was last year's Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Oh, my God, what a great movie. Unbelievable movie.
And that movie took me back to, like, the John Hughes movies of the 80s.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. You laugh, you cry, you do.
Right.
Yeah.
This movie comes close, but there were a little too many movie cliches in it, and the inevitable confrontation between Carell and James was a little forced, sudden.
I'll give you that.
But other than that, I mean, it was hilarious. Yeah. I mean, I laughed my ass off at this movie, and it had
great.
Yeah, great.
Going back to Carell's character, I know we just talked about what an asshole he was, right. and just, but it wasn't like forced on you. Hey, this guy's an asshole. Like he was a human who just happened to be a jerk.
He's just a jerk. Yeah.
Like it wasn't like in your face. It was just he'd have moments of trying. He was actually trying in a lot of ways to help this kid out, but his nature of being a jerk, he just went about it all wrong.
Very ham-fisted attempts to connect with this kid. It was amazing.
But anyway, not drawing this out any longer. See the way back, which. By the way back refers to
a station wagon.
The very back seat of the station wagon.
Right.
Any of you who remember the 80s, and you had to sit in the very back facing the back window
facing
of the
incoming
wagon.
Traffic, right.
That's the way back. That's what's being referred to here. And just see it. What a great movie.
It was really good. So now we've come to our number one picks for the summer, and our number one pick is actually the same movie.
How about that, folks?
So
again, independently.
Yeah, independently, we came with these lists, but our number one pick is the same. And this movie, we had to wait till the end of the summer to get this movie.
Oh, but what a way to finish the summer!
What a way to finish the summer!
Way to finish the summer!
And it's The Getaway. Yes, it's The Getaway. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
no, it's not Getaway. We will not be going to see that. 2% on Rotten
Tomatoes. 2%, folks. Doug got me on that one. I was looking forward to it. I was like, Getaway, I'm going to see this movie. And Doug informed me, this was 2%. And I was like, wow, okay, I guess I will not.
Yeah.
Anyway, best movie of the summer.
I'll let you do it because
between the two of us.
I'll let you announce it because this was a movie I think you were looking for, aside from Only God Forgives. Yeah. This was probably the next movie you were looking forward to.
It's true, folks. I've been looking forward to this movie for years. The collaboration between these guys never lets you down. And I'm talking about Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and director Edgar Wright. This is their third film in their Cornetto trilogy, also known as the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy. It's The World's End.
The World's End.
Unbelievable movie. Everything hits point here. To be fair, up front, I'll go ahead and let you know, Dirty A has a soft spot for these boys getting together, and I knew way before this movie came out. Again, I've been looking forward to it for years, that I was going to love this movie. However, I'm also, when I watch movies, I'm an objective guy. I'll give a movie its credit and knock it down to its knees when it needs to be, but this hits all points. It is, at its core, it is absolutely a comedy.
Yes.
At its core, but like most brilliant comedies, it's got layers.
It does. A lot of layers on this.
This movie hits them all. So this movie is about Gary King, who is, let's say without giving too much away, he's going through a rough patch in his life. He's trying to figure out a way to pick it all back together. And
he's an eternal man-child.
There you go. Arrested Development.
Hey, there you go.
He is a man-child, and he has decided through some form of therapy, misguided in his attempt, he's decided that the best thing to do is to go back to his old high school days.
Right.
Where he and a few of his friends tried to do the Golden Mile.
Right, which was a pub crawl of 12 pubs in their hometown, ending at the bar called The World's End.
The last bar being The World's End. Now, as teenagers, they could not quite make this crawl. Actually, was it college? Were they in college?
No, they had just graduated high school.
They just graduated high school, right? So they're 18,
thereabouts
ish. Again, this is
England.
This is England, folks, so it's all legal.
Yeah, it's all legal.
But the first time they attempt this, though Gary King will call it the best night of his life, they never finished. So his idea is, let's get the boys back together. Spoiler alert, who now a lot of them have rifts with this guy.
Yeah.
A lot of having problems with this guy. Let's get the boys back together. Let's get the gang back together. Let's complete this pub crawl. And enter yourself into 2 hours of just extreme comedy and some near tears in a couple parts.
Yeah, definitely. Dirty A's right. This movie is funny. I felt it's my best movie of the summer because it goes the extra mile. It's the total package. I would say The Heat and This Is the End, I probably laughed harder at moments. They were more overtly funny. But The World's End is funny throughout the whole thing. A lot of great action.
Yeah.
There are fight scenes in this movie. Basically, if you've seen the trailer, you know that these guys go to their hometown and they discover that robots have basically taken over the town. There's more to it than that. We won't spoil it.
Perfectly plausible premise, folks.
Exactly. And what then follows is a very well-made, well-executed sci-fi action movie. And it becomes a very good science fiction movie.
Absolutely. Again, it's got, and this is what these guys do best, by the way.
Right.
This is what they do. They take these absurd situations of sci-fi, and you getting so engrossed in it, it could easily be real.
But this is not like this isn't. It has callbacks to Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. There are two previous movies, but it's not like those two where Shaun of the Dead is a riff on zombie movies and
Correct.
Hot Fuzz is a riff on action movies. This is a legitimate science fiction film.
This is almost takes both those and then goes the whole sci-fi route. And when he says callbacks, he means what they did in this trilogy of movies is they have scenes that are used in all three movies. Not like the same scene, but the same
They're
gag.
similar.
The same
They're similar.
gag takes place.
Right, just skewed differently.
Yeah, and,
right.
and it's, if you watch all three movies, you'll know what we're talking about. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
To Doug's point on the laugh out loud comedy, I absolutely agree. To be fair, though, the type of comedy these guys do,
it's different.
Which again is more English type of comedy.
Right.
It's always going to be subtler.
Right. Right.
But it's perfection.
I got so wrapped up in the characters of Gary and Nick Frost's character and what's his name?
He plays in
Eddie Marsan. Eddie Marsan. He's on Ray Donovan.
Ray Donovan. Great in both roles.
He's great. Yeah, he's fantastic. Martin Freeman's great. Patty Considine. They're all great. But I got so wrapped up.
Hobbits here,
Yeah, I got so wrapped up in their pub crawl and their little journey that I had completely forgotten that the robots were supposed to be in this movie until Gary starts fighting the first one.
Right.
And I was like, oh my god, that's right. This is supposed to be a science fiction movie. The ending, won't spoil it for you, but it is surprising. The ending is very surprising.
Surprisingly wonderful.
Yes, and it was just fantastic movie from start to end. Now, if you don't get British humor, you don't like British humor, you're probably not going to like it. You're probably not going to get it. If you didn't like Shaun of the Dead, you didn't like Hot Fuzz.
I would say that if you didn't like those movies, don't bother with this one. You're not. It's not going to
change it, right?
Again, the humor it's still funny. I don't care what kind of humor you like, but if you don't like that type of movie, you're wrong. You're wrong. Everyone's entitled to my opinion, right, folks? If you're listening out there, Edgar, Simon, Nick, I hope this isn't your last collaboration. I hope you do some more. Simon Pegg can do no wrong for me. The man is
great. He's great.
Is a geek to his core. I love him for everything he does. But when these three get together, anything's possible.
I'll go so far as to say Nick Frost and Simon Pegg are one of the greatest on-screen duos in history. They
would go down absolutely in my book. They can. There is a caveat to that, and that movie's name would be Paul.
Oh, okay.
That was more of them bending more to Hollywood, I think.
Yeah.
In that movie, they're still great, but.
Right.
That movie is not.
Right.
Is not.
Did they write that? Did Simon Pegg write that?
No. This was just.
That's totally for hire.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying. Right.
That's why
they did not write it. It was Edgar Wright had nothing to do with that one. But I hope these three collaborate again, because if they do, I promise you it'll be gold. I don't think these guys can do any wrong. That being said, Doug's probably a little more objective on the idea of that collaboration than I am, but we both agree The World's End, best movie of the summer.
Oh yeah, hands down. I mean, it's like I said, it's the complete package. I mean, it just goes that extra little mile with the story and everything like that. Because The Heat, like I said, The Heat is a buddy cop movie, and it covers all those tropes that you're familiar with and everything like that. So it wasn't, it was putting these actresses in a situation that they normally wouldn't find themselves.
Sure.
And This Is the End, while hilarious, felt like it was a little bit improv, a little bit, it was they kind of,
these guys were playing off themselves a lot.
Right. And I will say This Is the End also. The end is a little cheesy, it is.
Of course.
But with The World's End, it's the characters are really what keep you rooted in the movie.
It's a well done movie.
Right.
It's not like these guys are just getting together and riffing off each other,
right.
and there's a scene. It's a production. It's a real movie. It's really funny. It's serious at times when it has to be, and just great. And Doug, I think it's safe to say that 2013 was the summer of the comedies.
2013 was the summer of the comedy. And that's a good segue into our next section that we're going to talk about, which there were a lot of movies that came out this year, this summer, that were supposed to be the big movies, and obviously Iron Man 3 made the most money.
Oh.
But, all these big action superhero movies, they weren't... there was something about each of them that kind of held them back. So
I would say it's more than one thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them that just...
A lot of anticipation for these big blockbusters, but they, as you can see from our list, they didn't make the cut, and there's legitimate reasons.
And there were other comedies this summer that were good. We're the Millers was funny.
Oh, it was that movie was a super surprise funny. I thought that could have easily been just terribly unfunny to me.
Totally.
Fair. But that was a good one. That was for sure good. The to-do list.
To-do list was very funny.
Hilarious.
Very funny.
To me that would go over the Heat. I know we've talked about this.
Right.
That movie that goes on my honorable mention list. That movie it almost made my list. It was that funny.
Right.
Yeah.
But the other movies that were big movies like Iron Man 3,
Man of Steel,
The Wolverine, Pacific Rim, which was a lot of fun. I liked it, but it flopped horribly here in the States. It's doing well overseas, but it...
Yeah, to be fair, when we say flop, we're talking about budgetary. We're talking about money-wise.
Right, money-wise,
it was actually a decent movie.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch. It was a lot of times when you were watching Pacific Rim, you're on the edge of your seat, watching these fights. The fight scenes are great.
Right.
I'm not sure what went wrong there.
The characters were a little too cardboard.
But I wouldn't say that's why it didn't make money.
I think people just didn't get it. I had a friend who actually he saw the commercial for it and he said that just looks dumb. And and people just didn't get it.
It was certainly it was a nod wink at a certain geeky person.
It was definitely a nod to the nerd set.
I expected it to be, even to be honest, even the way it was made. This was a movie by Guillermo del Toro.
Yes, his first feature, I think, since Pan's Labyrinth.
Since Pan's Labyrinth, which...
Or was it Hellboy 2? I forget which one came out last.
Hellboy
I think it's Hellboy 2.
But Pan's Labyrinth, what a
that's a fantastic movie.
But this was his nod to geeks, and it showed. I mean, lines in that movie and scenes in that movie were completely wink, wink. To, hey, you're a geek and you're watching this.
It was an anime movie come to life.
Yeah, it was not bad. But again, it was one of those big movies that just didn't quite hold the mustard.
You had we should probably talk a little bit about Man of Steel. I liked it. I liked it. I liked the reimagining of Superman. I say fuck the haters.
Yeah, okay, if you haven't seen or if you've been under a rock, Man of Steel was released this summer. It was the reboot of Superman by director Zack Snyder.
Right.
It's a darker Superman.
It is.
It is Superman to the way I would see it. It's the way a real life, if you could say that,
right,
a real life Superman would come to accept who he is.
Yeah.
Instead of the comic booky, just I am good and
right. It literally is Superman Begins.
Yeah.
It's Superman in the Batman Begins mold, learning how to use his powers. A lot of people were upset with a lot of the destruction that takes place in it. Superman does something at the end of the movie that they don't like. But to me,
it's a movie, folks.
It's a movie. He's a fictional character. First of all, he does whatever the writers want him to.
And if you're going to do to me, and again, I love Christopher Reeve's take on Superman. He will always embody Superman to me. Right. Don't get me wrong, but for me, if you're going to do a live action Superman, and you're not going to have the destruction,
right,
that
would come from two
scene in this movie of two super beings, two alien beings fighting it out. Of course, they're going to destroy a lot of things,
right?
Especially when they don't know each other's powers yet.
Right.
They're still. And so, not to give too much away if you haven't seen it. Although, if you haven't seen it by now, I'm not sure what you're waiting on.
Yeah.
But no, it's a great movie, right?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Henry Cavill, I think, was great as Superman.
Yeah, he did. He picked up the torch. He did a fine job.
I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, and I hope it's as well.
And yes, I'm fine with Ben Affleck being Batman. That's fine. But I'm more worried about the script, honestly, for the next one. But
it's all about the script. To be honest, let's face it. Superman Begins. Brandon Routh, he was fine.
Yeah, Superman Returns.
Superman Returns. He was. It might as well have been Superman.
Yeah.
He was a fine Superman.
Yeah, he was fine.
He defined it was the script that completely fell flat.
Yeah, that movie was awful.
It's all about the script with the Superman.
Right.
Well, not all about
any
it.
movie really, but
I mean, you can't put some people in that role. But
right.
But yeah, Superman Returns. It was Man of Steel, great movie.
Yeah.
Or good movie, not great.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't make our list.
To me, it didn't quite reach the level of Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
No,
but it was a decent reboot of Superman.
In the comic book fandom of comics being turned to movies, it's not the greatest by any means,
and it's certainly not the worst.
But it is not the worst. Yeah. So yeah, it didn't make our list, but still worth the viewing.
There was a couple other films, Elysium, which was the follow-up from Neil Blomkamp, writer-director of District 9.
Wow.
Which was a fantastic movie, which came out in 2009, 2010, something like that.
2009, I think.
And this was his next movie, Elysium, and a good movie. Fine movie, lots of great action, kept you on the edge of your seat. Little easy. The ending was a little easy.
It's set in the future,
right?
To be honest, so you can. When you set things in the future, you can. The whole willful suspension of disbelief certainly has got to take over.
Right.
But there are certain things in this one where you're like, come on. You're like, that is not going to happen. You're not going to have the president of any leading troops.
Yeah.
Literally leading troops in to go find somebody.
Right. But I mean, good work for Matt Damon in it. Charlton Copley, who was in District 9, he's the villain in this. He was fantastic. But just things that were a little too easy, a little too much of computers can fix anything going on.
Oh yeah. Oh, talk about the penultimate reboot.
Oh,
the
reboot
fixes everything.
Right, the reboot fixes everything.
But yeah.
I mean, basically, the moral of the story for Elysium is rich people are assholes. That's basically
but rich people are bastards.
Yeah, but a decent film. Film. Not as good as District 9.
No, another runner for me this summer is The East.
Yes.
Not many people even heard of this movie, much less would consider watching it. But this movie, I don't want to give too much away for anyone who'd want to see it, but it's a kind of a
political thriller. But it's an environment instead of political.
The government is trying to, not the government. There's a third party that's trying to infiltrate a group of extreme environmentalists who are kind of called eco-terrorists.
Right.
And they send someone in to kind of infiltrate this group that no one can seem to get their hands on.
Called the East.
Mm-hmm. And, they're running around doing terrorist acts for the quote-unquote betterment of the environment and for the world. And the story has so many great twists and turns, and the acting is phenomenal in the movie. It doesn't make my best of list just because there are enough elements in this movie that just don't quite work, but I still say look out for The East.
When it comes out on release. Yeah,
it's certainly worth a showing on Blu-ray or DVD.
Yeah, they there's a bunch of people in this.
Alexander Skarsgård.
Yeah, he's in it. Ellen Page is in it.
Ellen Page plays a great role.
Britt Marling, she plays. She's the main character.
Yeah, she plays the informant, if you will.
And she is also involved, I believe, in the writing of this movie as well. She's co-writer on the movie.
Is that right?
Along with the director. I believe so. Yeah.
All right.
And you find your loyalties really shifting.
Absolutely.
As the main character finds hers shifting, you do start to feel for these people that of this group.
You're on a roller coaster in your own mind of which side you fall on in this faction. Do you side with the government, or are you siding with these for all intents and purposes terrorists who are killing people, who are hurting people?
Right.
But you see both sides, and the movie does a good job at showing you both sides without letting you make up your own mind. It's not steering you in a direction.
Right. It's not telling you what to think.
No, not at all. So it's a great movie.
Yeah, I liked it. I think you probably liked it a little bit more than I did. But it was decent. It was a decent thriller. I think releasing it in the summer was probably a mistake. It felt more like a fall movie to me.
was up against too much.
Yeah, it totally got lost.
It was never going to get. It was an indie film, so it was never going to get the support or backing of the big theater movies or the big blockbuster studio movies.
Right.
Another one we just saw, which has got to make at least my list as a runner-up, The Butler.
Butler was really good. It
was a good movie.
Yeah,
it was solid. It wasn't anything spectacular.
Right. It's very Forrest Gumpish in that it covers the same period of history,
right.
The same period of history, and it was a little ridiculous. Basically, it follows Forrest Whitaker, who plays a butler. It's based on a real guy who was a butler at the White House for like 5 presidents, or 8 presidents. How many presidents?
Let's see. Where did he start with?
He's Eisenhower.
He starts with Ike, and then he ends with Reagan.
So through that span, he is in it in the White House. His son, the story is as much about him as it is about the father. His son is the Forrest Gump type character who ends up getting involved in every single major event in the civil rights movement, which made it just a little unbelievable. But
he's the pacifist to his son's activist side.
Yes,
is what
exactly.
That's the play on the movie.
But I don't think the movie will generate like a Best Picture nod. But I think Forrest Whitaker may get nominated.
I think there's an off chance he gets nominated for Best Actor.
He was great.
You're right. I don't think it's quite strong enough for Best Picture.
And the thing with Forrest Whitaker is like you saw the trailer for this and I was actually surprised when it came out in August. I thought it was coming out later in the year, and you see him in it and you think, oh well, that's Oscar bait. They're going for, but he really inhabits that role. I mean, right down as he gets older, right down to like tremors from like an elderly person and just his movements. I mean, he really nailed it. He was fantastic.
Yeah, he pulls a rabbit out of his hat on this one.
Yeah.
So, to be fair, it is Oscar bait.
Yeah, it is.
This movie was made. The story, whoever found this story and pitched it said, "We've got ourselves some Oscar attention here."
Right. But for me personally, I think the main Oscar consideration should go to Forrest Whitaker. Maybe Oprah might generate a little bit. She's pretty good.
She was.
Right.
She was good. She could be nominated. She probably will be because she's Oprah.
It depends. There's a lot of. I mean, we got another Meryl Streep movie coming out. So.
Oh God, don't get me started. Don't get me started, folks. I love movies and I love actors, and Meryl Streep is not one of them.
Ooh, that'll be an interesting discussion then.
Right?
Down the road.
Yeah. So anyway, So The Butler. You got any more on your?
To be honest, 2 Marvel movies, real quick.
All right.
Iron Man 3. I liked it. Didn't like the twist personally that they had in the movie. It was great to see Shane Black back in blockbuster mode.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I have to say, although I loved Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, the movie he did with Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, great movie.
I was kind of disappointed that the third act of Iron Man 3 kind of devolves into the sequel of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
I mean, to be honest, for me, Iron Man 3, it was a great action movie.
Yeah.
But compared to the first one and then the second one,
the first one was great.
It just gets progressively worse, of course. The first one being just awesome.
The first one's fantastic.
Now, you take the first one, Iron Man, out of just being a comic book movie. It's just a great movie.
It is.
It's just a great action movie.
It really is.
But this one is certainly the comic book movie of the 3 of these,
right?
And it just it kind of falls apart at the end.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make any sense. You know, look, it's 100 Iron Men, and we're gonna destroy them all,
right?
Just because.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point a little bit where it's hard to know where Tony Stark ends and Robert Downey Jr. begins, and it's almost like it is going to be difficult for them to recast that part when the time comes.
He is
that guy now, and that's why I said like there's a scene in the movie where he's trying to escape from being in prison, and he's like shooting guys with guns, and he totally knows what he's doing. And then it becomes Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, where he doesn't know how to use a gun anymore, and it's total inconsistencies. But
you're right though. It was funny. He is Tony Stark. He is Iron Man, as he says in the original. I am Iron Man. But my biggest gripe has always been with that is that because Hollywood needed their kitty hero.
Right.
They don't make Tony Stark the true Tony Stark, which is a junk
alcoholic
womanizer.
Yeah.
And Robert Downey Jr. could absolutely play that guy.
Oh yeah.
But it's way toned down.
And
watered down, if you will.
Yes, watered down. The other movie for me that I was looking forward to that was good, but the ending was just abysmal, was The Wolverine. Hugh Jackman, to me, he is Wolverine. Again, like we were talking with Robert Downey Jr., it'll be very tough to recast that
he
role
embodies that character
in the future. Yeah. But the movie was based on a 1982 comic series by longtime X-Men writer Chris Claremont. Frank Miller was the artist, if you know, Sin City and 300. And it takes Wolverine to Japan, where he finds love, and he fights against the Yakuza and stuff like that. Great story. The problem with the movie is they had to comic book it up and put in a bunch of characters with superpowers that didn't even need to be in it.
If they had stuck to that original story you just mentioned, where he's against the Yakuza trying to save, not giving too much away, trying to save who he's trying to save.
Right.
If they had just stuck with that one plot line,
it would have been great.
What a fantastic action movie that would have been.
Yeah.
If they had just stuck with that for the hour 45, whatever it was.
Right.
But they decided to go, wait a second, this is Wolverine, and people are expecting some more mutants in here.
Exactly.
And they hyped it up. It doesn't. People don't understand. Hollywood doesn't understand that the fans of Wolverine. Wolverine is not like, yes, he's in the X-Men, but he's not just out fighting mutants. He's kind of the anti-hero, everyman mutant who goes rogue on his own and just fights regular battles. He doesn't. It's not always against the mutants.
He's more of like a down and dirty, on the ground guy. He shouldn't necessarily be fighting like Doctor Doom and all these guys. And that's Fox's fault, I think. That's 20th Century Fox. I would like to see the X-Men rights revert back to Marvel. It's probably never going to happen, but I would like to see Marvel Studios. Really
the first 45 of this movie was awesome.
Yeah, the first 2/3 are fantastic, and then the last third is just evolved. It reminded me a lot of Ang Lee's Hulk a lot.
Oh yeah,
which was a great movie for the first 2/3, and then all of a sudden it becomes shitty comic book.
All of a sudden they let Nick Nolte go rogue in that one. And, I don't know what happened there, but yeah.
Did you have anything else for this summer?
Yeah, the last one I want to mention did not make my best of list solely because our criteria, which we haven't mentioned on the upfront, was the beginning of May till last week.
We basically started with the first weekend of May, which is Iron Man 3,
to the end of August
last week, because no one can handle Getaway, so we didn't want to screw up our list.
So this one was a wide release, I'll say, in April.
Yeah.
It's called Mud.
Fantastic movie.
Again, this is probably a movie that a good number of people probably haven't even heard of. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, check it out.
It's on Blu-ray now.
It's a phenomenal drama. Oh, yeah, it's on Blu-ray. I bought that immediately when it came out. I can't say Matthew McConaughey. I know a lot of people right now are rolling their eyes going, what?
He has been hitting it out of the park.
The man can act. The man can act when he wants to, and he's got that movie coming up.
Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah,
which looks fantastic.
It's going to surprise a lot of people, I guarantee you. And you talk about Oscar noms and Oscar bait, if you will. That's got it written all over it, but it's going to be great.
And he's also filming. Just started filming Interstellar, Christopher Nolan's next movie.
Oh wow! Talk about a movie we're looking forward to.
Oh yeah, that comes out next year.
But Mud is again kind of a. We'll call it kind of a coming of age story.
It is, yeah, because it's really not about him so much.
It's not. You think it's about Matthew McConaughey's character, or at least I should say, we thought it was going to be about Matthew McConaughey's character, nicknamed Mud.
Right.
But to be honest, the movie is not about him at all. He's a side character to a couple, and one in particular, confused, adolescent teen who's going through a lot of personal stuff.
Right.
Who comes across this hobo vagrant living on an island by himself.
Right.
And kind of the I'm going to teach you some life lessons, kid.
Right.
And comes to learn that this guy's not all good and all bad, encompassing kind of his changing his view of the world.
Yeah.
That this kid realizes everything's not black and white.
Exactly.
The world is not black and white. There's shades of gray throughout everyone I know, and I can't trust everyone.
Right.
But I also have to put trust in people.
Right.
The movie, it was hard to market, first of all.
Yeah, it really is.
Because as a movie that the mass audience is going to want to see, this is not it. It's a very slow-paced movie. It's a drama all the way through. There's not. I mean, there's maybe one chuckle.
But, there were some funny parts. Michael Shannon had some funny parts.
Okay, I know.
Michael Shannon's in a supporting role.
Get your tip wet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it's a drama too. It's very core, and it's a slow-paced movie for the most part, up until there is a little gunfight there at the end there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't say enough about this movie. Again, the only reason it didn't make my top 3 is strictly because of the time frames we were that we gave ourselves in giving this movie. But Doug, it sounds like you agree with me on this one.
The kid was played by Ty Sheridan. He's a great young actor. He was excellent.
I expect more from him.
Yeah, I expect great things from him. Also, his sidekick was a character named Neckbone, who was played by Jacob Loveland, and I'm pretty sure that was his first movie. I think they just found him when they made this. It was a great movie. It was very reminiscent, I felt, of Stand By Me a little bit.
Absolutely. Not quite
the same, but it kind of had that feel to it.
Absolutely.
And like we said, Michael Shannon's in it. Reese Witherspoon is in it. She has a big role in it.
Yeah.
It's just a really, really good movie. Well done.
And once again, all these people that we mentioned hit the nail on the head on the parts. They did really well. They didn't overplay their parts. They didn't underplay their parts. They played exactly what they were supposed to play. And
we have to give a shout out, if you're going to talk about Mud, you have to give a shout out to the writer director Jeff Nichols. He's been doing some great stuff. So look for more from him. He's a good filmmaker. Mud. Definitely, it might have made my list too if it fallen in the time.
Yeah,
frame.
It was an amazing movie of the year. It's safe to say that one might come back at our best of the year.
Yeah, oh for sure.
You folks might be hearing me praising that movie a little bit more.
Yeah, because Mud was a great movie, really, really good.
But anyway, so maybe we should recap here.
Yeah, let's recap. We'll our worst of the year. My top 3. Well, I'll go from the very worst to the kind of worst. My number 1 worst was Star Trek Into Darkness. Number 2 was The Purge. And Paranoia was my number 3. And your worst?
Yeah. So my worst, number 1, Only God Forgives. Not only was it just a awful shitstorm of a movie, but the expectations were
a huge disappointment.
I expected so much. My number 2, Hangover 3, a comedy that was not a comedy, and my number 3 worst was White House Down, which was just a cliche action movie.
Right. Yeah. And our best, number 1 for both of us was The World's End.
See it, folks.
See it. It's still in theaters now. It just came out last week. We're going to see it again tomorrow. I think.
If we're lucky, we will get to see it again tomorrow. It's wonderful.
My number 2 was This Is the End, and number 3 was The Heat.
Yeah, my number 2, The Way Back. And my number 3 for best of the year was This Is the End, which, what a great transition, because, folks, this is the end of our
inaugural podcast
for the Hodgepodge.
And thanks for listening. And I got to piss like a racehorse, so we're out of here.
All right.